So we're going to use this layering. I've got it, enabled or previewing so I can see it. It's going to become our bottom layer, A, and our top layer, B. And then we're going to blend them together with alpha. Okay, so this is now this texture we're seeing in these gaps. Okay. So what we then want to do is we want to get this moving. Okay, so it's going to require that we create a panner node and then the direction vector. Okay, so we're appending together a U and a V to get a UV channel. Okay, so if you hadn't seen my discussions of that before, we've got basically a U and a V, and they're individual float values. Okay, so 1.0 is a float. 1 is an integer. So these are float values, 1.0 or 2.3597, whatever. And we want to append them together into a UV, U, better make a U look more like a U and V channel. So it becomes one value, right? You guys follow what I'm doing there with that, I hope. Yes, no?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So by default, I have my direction in U is 1 and my V is 0, so that I'm pointing across in the XY plane. So if you've got a Cartesian graph, we've got X and we've got Y. Essentially, my vector is here at 1, okay, at a value of 1. So that's getting my, it's called speed because I can lengthen and shorten that vector to speed it up and down. But realistically, you can do the same with time because time really is speed too. Time goes by faster. Well, it's going by faster. So that's what I'm doing here. I've got a constant vector 1, a float value, and I'm taking time and I'm multiplying time. So I can basically speed time up, slow time down. I've defaulted it to 0.2 in this case and plugged it into time. Okay. And the texture coordinates, which aren't needed but implied, and I like them to be there so I can just sort of see them. I'm going to plug that in, and we're going to get lava moving now. You guys see that? Yes, no?
Yeah. The time node on the left, the red node is the name of node is time.
Time, yep.
Okay.
When the game's playing, when the game, like it's implied, if I were to pull it out of here, I think it'll still work. Okay. But we'd have to use this as our speed now and try and slow this down. I like to think of this as a direction only and then manipulate my time. Okay. This isn't needed at all. It's implied. It knows that it's the UV coordinates off the object, but I'm going to plug it in there anyways, just so I know that that's what it is. Okay. I could also, we're also going to use this to mess with the coordinates, I think. So you're going to see where we're going to go in a second. So we've now got our alpha, right, cutting out and cookie cuttering this down through our moving texture. Now we need this to be able to be, moving. I'm just going to use another text coordinate node just to make it sort of obvious. We could reuse the one above. I just pointed to it with my finger. That makes a lot of sense, eh? We could reuse this one, which would probably be better, and a multiply. And so I would be able to go in now, and I would be able to multiply this up and down. These should be defaulted to 1 and 1. Okay. And of course, it's also going to tile that one because it's got to tile at the same time. So when these get changed in the material instance, right, we can do this. Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense, right? We'll be able to change it. But realistically now, in this case, I've kind of painted this to be the same scale texture as this. You could do this individually so that we can scale this up and down separately. But realistically, we could simply go in and stick another multiply in here. And I guess we could, you know what? We don't even need that. We could just go in there. So that will get us I don't know if that helps make it look better. Don't know if you guys are aware you can do that. You can just double click on the line and create one of these little nodes, which you can plug into and out of, right?
Oh, that's helpful.
Very helpful, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can plug in and out of these as needed. So yeah, just to make things.
Is there a way to delete it?
Yeah, you just delete it. You just delete it and then just have
okay.
to reconnect. But again, you can see I can just reconnect to this one now. Drop in one and just put it where I need it. Right, which means I could have also done this. Right, same difference. So I could.
Oh yeah, that looks a lot cleaner.
Right, you know, whatever, right? You know, it's like, so you can clean it up a lot, right? However you want to do it. So anyways, so now what I can do is, this is my tiling code. This is the UV coordinate coming in. So now when I go in and change the U tile here to smaller, you can see I'm also changing the lava underneath. It's also scaling because that's the UV coordinate, right? So this is my, and I want to select all that and press C. Call it tiling. Okay, so there's my tiling. This is going to be, I don't know, my animation nodes, right? And then that'll be my textures. So we can plug that now into our base code. I'm going to say stop previewing. And you can see we've got that chugging over here, right? What we really want is to have the lava glowing and not have the rocks glowing, okay?
Yes.
So let me just take this tiling back here, back to something a little, okay? So we need to do a little something different. I can't just use the output here for the emissive because, you know, it's going to glow all over the place. It's going to glow, the dark won't glow as much, but it's still going to have glow because there's like white in it that I painted into it here, right? So it's not going to work. So what I want to do is I kind of want to replace this entire texture map with black. So anywhere this shows up, I just want black to be, okay, and not have anything at all, and always just be black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a second lerp node, plug in the B channel, the black, instead of this texture. Plug in my animated, lava. Plug in my mask. Okay, so I've got the mask going now. All right, and then use that as my emissive, so that I'm going to get the ability to control only the lava. Because again, I'm, you know, it's black wherever it's. Strangely enough, it's black wherever it's white in the mask, because 100% is the B channel, right? 0% is the A channel. So it's blending this through. So if I wanted, then I could probably multiply in either of two places to make it sort of brighter or not. I could plug it in here, and we'll call this emissive, and called lava, right?
Sorry, what was the channel? It's just a normal constant node, that emissive channel.
This? Yeah, it's just a constant. It's just 1 on the keyboard, right? It's one of these right there. Constant vector 1.
Ah, okay.
Right? It's 1 on the keyboard. Look at the hotkeys. You'll save yourself a ton of time if you learn your hotkeys. 1.
And lerp is just L.
L. M
yeah,
for multiply. T for texture. U for UVs. Yeah, you'll save yourself a pile of time. You know.
I'm using hotkeys.
Yeah, I love that feature. That's awesome. So there you go. There's a simple sort of way to control those and blend them together, right? Now, of course, now we'd want to play with something similar for roughness maybe, but we might still want some of this in here because we want it to be rough. And we maybe don't want the lava to be as rough, so we'd want to invert maybe the color here, okay, for that. So let's see if I can figure that out on the fly here. So for roughness, we want to be able to control roughness. Let's just get an overall control going. We're going to need another lerp node. That's going to get plugged into roughness. Okay. And then we could say, well, I want to make this shiny. So what happens if I literally just go and do this right now? Like, what would happen? Well, anywhere it's white is going to become rough, which is probably what we want rock. Anywhere it's black is going to become shiny, which is going to be the lava. I don't know if you can see that, but it is visible on there. You can see it's probably with less emissive. You can see it's shiny here.
Yeah.
But not shiny on the rocks because black, right, is 0 roughness, white, 100% roughness, okay? So now what can we do, to mess with this? So if we multiply this, well, I guess we really don't. I mean, if we don't want this shiny, that could work right there. I mean, that could be it. And then you could, do something else to it if you wanted. But this is 100% shiny, basically. So we could add an add node, I guess, because we can't make it more. Well, I guess we can't make it more rough. 100% rough is rough. But if we took this into an add node instead of a multiply, because the black is shiny. We can't multiply black with anything and get anything other than black, because what is any number multiplied by 0?
0.
0. And black is 0. So the only way to make the black not 0 is add a number to it. Okay. So if we did something like this and said lava roughness, okay, and just leave the rock 100% rough, well, then we could go in and crank the lava up to 1, and we've just pushed this entire map. So white, instead of being 1, is now 2. Well, roughness only goes to 1 anyways, so it's kind of irrelevant, right? We can't make it more rough than 100% rough. Anyhow. But if you notice, the lava doesn't shine anymore, right? Because black is now white, because 0 just got 1 added to it. So there's our control for how shiny we want our lava, right? And now we can do the same sorts of things with a normal map and be able to plug and blend together normal maps and whatnot. Right? But there you go. Questions, guys?
What would the hotkey be for the yellow node there? That one your mouse is on right now?
This?
No, below the yellow.
What? That?
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
That's a vector. That's a constant vector 3.
Oh,
So
right.
it's
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Simple as that.
Okay.
And essentially, it's RGB, XYZ, UVW, right? So it actually even gives you a color swatch. But you literally could think of that as a UVW channel, right? It actually is a UVW channel. You could take this and plug it in instead of this. You could plug that in and get the same results, and think of this as UV and W, and get exactly the same thing. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Which means we could also just use this one instead. But the reason you can't use this one is I want to be able to control this UV direction as inputs. And this, I can only, I can name it one thing. I don't convert to parameter UVs. So I could name that one UVs, but this one doesn't allow you. Oh, it does now. Oh, I didn't know they could now. Oh, no, it converted it to a color node. That's interesting. So it still doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it still doesn't. Still can't. You can't convert a constant vector 2 into parameters. So just for cleanliness, I prefer that because then I can have UV inputs, right? If you go to your parameters here, you got this UV inputs here, right? And if you guys didn't know, that's what your UI is going to look like in your instance. So another fun thing you can do is you can go and take these, for instance, and go into group and go UVs. And so it's in a UV, going to be in this UV grouping now. And we could take these and call this all part of, where is it? Call this animation. And you can add any of them into it as you want. So if you look at that now I've got this animation with my speed UV direction, right?
Right.
So you can put them into these groupings, but one of the things you might want to do is change the order for whatever reason. Well, you can, because if you go into one of them, see this sort priority? It defaults to 32, but if I stick this as, I'll take my V channel here, which is the last one, right? Which is all the way down here. I'll take my V channel and stick it to 0. You'll see now it's at the top. So it's just sort order. So you can go and order them into whatever order you want. By default, I think it just goes alphabetically. But nice way to be able to clean up your UIs when you make, materials, right? You want to be able to take all these. We're going to turn these into parameters. We could just put those into a texture one, or we could make one specifically for lava, one for diffuse, one for normals, and then have all our settings together under normals or diffuse or something, right? Roughness settings all together so that you've got this nice usable. So here's your UI so far.
I have one question for the third texture, like in parameter. That is a AO map, that black and white one?
No, this is a mask. We're going to call it a mask. It's a mask. It's black.
How can I create that?
Well, I did it in Photoshop. So I painted this in Photoshop, and of course I've got the layer that I painted all the rock pretty much looked like that, but with all the rock on it. I just took a copy of it and filled it. So I just did it in Photoshop. Right. So you could go paint it by hand if you wanted. But yeah, it was just one of the layers, and then I selected all the. I copied
and
this
then
layer.
How can I create normal maps?
For what? Normal maps for?
Yeah.
Just I do it all in Materialize.
No. I know how to create normal maps, but in this material node there is no normal.
Well, I haven't put it in yet. There's
here,
normal map.
Only roughness and
same thing.
And base color. Yeah. Okay.
Same basic thing. So I'd have a normal for this. I'd have a normal for that. I'd lerp the two together using this as a mask and plug it into normal. Okay, so for some reason, I don't think I have the normal of this in here. I don't know why, but I don't. In this project, I don't know.
Maybe you deleted it accidentally at some point.
Stone wall. Oh, maybe I'm using, no, it's not that one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where the hell it is. I'll go get it and throw it in there, and then I'll do it. So this thing's going to get awful long now. My video here is going to get awful long. Sketches, textures.
How long would you say like a 5-minute video? How big would that file be?
Oh, I don't know. I go pretty large, but most of the ones I do for you guys, I don't tend to save anyways.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't save the renders on. I upload them to YouTube and then blow them away. I just don't need to.
Right.
I just don't need to hang on to them. What What is that called? A lava tile. So where are you showing up? Are you down here somewhere? Oh, there you are. So grab that. Texture sample. So there's my sample there. Lerp. What am I lerping together, right? You know, I need the one for my moving lava, which I think is burning wood overlay. Yeah, I guess it's that one. So I called it burning wood because I use it for the wood too. So there's those two, exactly the same process. We're going to mix them together with this. We're going to plug that into normals. And now we're going to have normals. Now we want this to animate with it, obviously. So it's going to pan. We want this one to size, right? Correctly. And there we go. Cool?
Yes, that normal map for the first one is for magma, and the second normal map is for stone and.
Yep.
Okay, I see.
Kept them in the exact same order, and maybe even then, one of the things might be, I'll do that because this mask is being used in multiple places. I like to keep these flows logical. The amount of times I see people doing this, and I get in there and it's like, what are you doing? Like, how the hell do you pay attention to all that, right? I mean, you know, like you're just losing yourself in your own flow because it's a disaster. Like I literally find them just piled around this. Like, I have no idea what's plugged into what. Not a clue, right? So keep them organized and then use your comments as much as possible, right? You know, so if these, again, this would be the normals for it. I'd parameterize these. I'd name them, you know, and then maybe I'd grab them all and just keep myself, you know, logical and organized. Simple as that. Good?
Yep, good, thank you. Can you post this video to YouTube?
Yep, I will do. Anybody else? Questions?
Yep.
Oops.